after the 1 hour was gone, I was like, I leave everything, I commit everything to God's hand. At this point, all I have to do is pray. I just kept praying about it. Lord, I've done everything that I can. Please, I leave this to you. Let me pass. Having talked about all the strategies that I used, would it work for you? Only you can tell. It depends on you. Everybody has a different strategy. I was able to use that strategy to work for me. But if you feel that something is not going for you, please tweak it. Tweak it to something that would suit you. Tweak it. You know, you can pick something for what I've said. You can pick something for what other people have said. You can add your own touch onto it. Just make sure you get something that works for you. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's that proud black woman again, and thank you again for tuning in. So after I released the first video of how to become a lawyer in Canada, I got overwhelming reviews, overwhelming, like people contacting me on my social media saying thank you so much, you've put my heart at peace and all of that. And they all, like, especially a lot of moms that have kids like that were in the same condition as I was when I was writing my exams, they all reached out to me, and I was so happy about it. I was so glad. So and people have been asking, what about the part 2 that you promised us, girl? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, cool down, like it's never that serious. I'm going to find time. So if you're wondering, like, this look today, it's different because I just got this fabric from Black Friday. So this is like African fabric, and it's really beautiful, and this is like a free gift that I got with it. So I just made a video about it. So if you want to watch the video before we get into the serious LSO process, or wherever province that you might be, that you have to write the barrister and solicitor, this would help you no matter where you are, even if you're not in Canada. So if you want to watch the video of this look, I'm going to leave the link up here and you can go watch it. So before we get started, the black-owned business that I'm going to be showcasing today is Fusionola. So this is a business that is owned by a lawyer, an internationally trained lawyer just like myself. And she's really doing something awesome. So she sells handmade scrunchies, any kind of hair accessories, African fabrics, gemstone, bracelets and all things like that. And this is her Instagram page actually that I'm scrolling through, and see how beautiful those scrunchies are, and they're very affordable. And also you can tell her the design or the fabric that you want, and I believe she'll be able to make something work and make you have like really, really good fabric. As you all know, I'm wearing an African fabric today, and it's you all know it's really beautiful. So please reach out to her, because she's not the one that made my fabric, but I know that she has really, really fantastic things that you would enjoy. So she also has a YouTube channel called Extra Step CEO, and she's doing amazing. If you want to start your own business and you need information, she's your plug. And she also showcases small businesses on her channel. She's been doing really great within the black community, showcasing other people's products and showcasing other people's channel and things like that. Like, she's been really supportive. So she's somebody that I've never met in person, but I like what she's doing because she's building our community one stone at a time. And that's why I thought to showcase her. So if you want to read anything about her, this is just a little snapshot of what her channel says. So you know what to do. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. It's like a big red subscribe button that's like right there. Please click on it before we even get started. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you share this video with everybody else that you think that this might benefit from this video. So picking up from where we left off, as I said before, most of those strategies would work for any exam, any law exam, wherever you are. But I felt that it was more about theory questions. It was more about problem questions. It wasn't more as regards like multiple choice questions, which is what the bar and solicitor exam is. So first of all, let me give you a background. After I finished my NCA and I got my certificate of qualification, I went straight ahead to start my licensing process. And then I found out that I was like a year late, because apparently every year, December 2nd or December 3rd, whichever one it is that doesn't fall on the weekend, is the deadline for the next session exam. So I didn't know that, so I had to pay, was it $80 or one, I can't remember, for late payment. I was like, I'm fine, but I have to get the exam done. So I got my certificate of qualification in November 2019, and I wanted to do both my solicitor and barrister exams in March. So I was like, I'll pay, I just want to get everything done. So I started the process right away. By the way, if you're hearing any yelling or screaming down in the background, it's my kids. I'm not neglecting them. My spouse is there with them. So that's how I started. I did the first step online, and then the second step, you had to actually go to a commissioner for oaths, and then do that, and then send in the hard copy to the LSO, and then they'll contact you. Then at first, I didn't have the money for the exams yet at that point in time, because like I was factored out from paying all that money for NCA, and I did all my exams at once, except law of contract that I had to do because they didn't offer it in January, so I had to do it much later. But apart from that, so what I did first was pay for my materials, because I think the material deadline was already April and this is November now. So I paid for the material so I could get the material and I can start. And I think it was like in about a week or 10 days, the materials came and they were like that big. I was like, what? I'm supposed to read this between now and March for both exams, and I was freaking out. Anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I did it already, 5 exams, 2 months to study, probably an hour a day, and I still was able to get my NCA done and dusted. So this has nothing on me, and it's multiple choice. Like, how bad can it be? So I started. So from December, when I got the package, because I registered late November, I got my package in December. So I went to, like, every day I went to work with my big books. So I put one, I think I put the solicitor is the biggest one. I think it's about 1,200 pages, I'm not sure. So I put that one at work, then I put the barrister at home so that I don't have to keep moving them. Like, I put them in a hard copy. So what I did was, when I go to work, every time I have my break, rather than just spend my 30 minutes eating away, I spend that time, because when I get home, I don't have the time, because now I'm working full time. I don't have the time to like be reading or whatever. So what I did was, I left that one at work. During my lunch break, I would open it. I don't care who's watching. Like, I open my book and I start to read. And then when I get home as well, once I put the kids to bed, the bedtime then was 8:30. When I put them to bed, I pick up my book, and maybe around 10. So I do 10 to 11, sometimes 10 to 12. So that I try to go and read and read and read. But I found out that I wasn't moving anywhere, because believe you me, in those 2 hours, I would only have read maybe 5 pages. The most I would have gone is 10 pages, because my mind kept moving away. I know if you have kids or if you have a job or whatever, you would understand what I'm talking about. Your mind will wander away and be like, oh, what did I just read? So my mind just kept going away, and I was like, how am I supposed to finish this gigantic books by the end of the month? Sorry, by the end of March. What am I even saying? It was the end of the exam was supposed to be March, right? And it was like, one was in the first week of March and the other one was in the second week of March. I think it was a week apart. So I was freaking out. So as I said in my first video, I thought about networking again. What can I do? So I went on the NCA group, Global Lawyers of Canada. So I asked people, please, do you know any WhatsApp group that is for the LSO, specific to the LSO? So somebody added me to the LSO group. So from that LSO group, I found another LSO group. So I was able to join 2 LSO groups, and it was fantastic, because then I was like, people were sharing so many resources. And unlike the NCAs, you don't have to buy other textbook or whatever. What they give you is what you're supposed to read. That will be where all your exams will be coming out from. It was just those 2 gigantic books, and that's it. So the first strategy I did was separate, rather than put that, because I was getting confused. So I had to separate. So for each course, that was like, I think barrister was like 4 different courses, and so, oh no, barrister was like 5 courses, and solicitor was like 4 courses. So I separated each courses so it was a little less chunky. So already that worked on my psyche that, okay, it's not that bad. If I can finish PR is just 99 pages. It was just like that. I was like, I'll be able to finish that so that I'm not overwhelming myself by seeing that big book. So I bought 5 other binders and I took those books and I separated all the courses, and that helped a great deal. The next thing I did was I didn't wait till I finished before I start tabbing. As I read, I started tabbing right away. Then I thought about it, like when I go to the exam, or you know what, I'll get back to that after. So I started tabbing as I read along, but I was still, very nervous because time started flowing by like really quickly. So what I did was, after joining that LSO group, I kept my ears on the ground, and then I started asking questions. Does anybody have any materials, any cheat sheets? Just like the NCA, because with the NCA we got a lot of cheat sheets, we got a lot of past questions, and you will be surprised. People are so magnanimous. They want to share, and people will send you like practice questions and things like that. And as I said before, you should be able to decipher which one is good material and which one is not by checking your syllabus, by checking with the table of content in your own book. Because also, just like the NCA, with the LSO, it changes. Like the barrister and solicitor exams, the syllabus changes every year because there are new laws that come in every year. So you don't want to be reading something that is already old school, or that already changed. Maybe before it was 6 months imprisonment for that crime, but now it's 2 years imprisonment. So you have to think about all those things. But anyway, so I got a lot of materials. They started trooping in like the floodgate was open. So I was able to decipher which one is good, which one is not, and I was able to choose just a few because I don't want too many materials. So I did that. And the next thing I did was I asked people, because with the NCA I was able to join some tutorial groups, but with this one I wasn't able to join the tutorial groups, and at the same time I wasn't financially able to, because I contacted a lot of tutors, but I wasn't financially able to pay those amounts. It was like 1,500, 1,200, and I couldn't pay. Some people would offer you, like I would advise, if you can pay, why not go for it? Some people will offer you instrumental payments, but I still couldn't, like I just couldn't bring myself to pay that because I didn't have it. So what I did was I asked, okay, does anybody have like videos and things like that? And I had something came out about lectures, and I went to the website. I saw like some samples of the lectures, and it was very informative, it was very impactful, but I couldn't afford it either. It was as good, it was as expensive as actually going for the classes. It was like 1,000 something for those videos, but they were like really, really informative. So what did I do? I went online on those groups and I asked people, has anybody purchased that? And I would like to share the cost. So what we did was cost sharing, and I don't think that is a crime, cost sharing. So we purchased together those videos and we shared the cost, and we're able, like 2-3 people were able to use that, and it helped me a great deal. So at some point I stopped reading the material. Disclaimer, I'm not telling you to stop reading your material. It wasn't working out for me because I was freaking out and I wasn't moving anywhere. So what I did, especially when it came to January, and I was like, you know what, I haven't even gone into half of barrister, talk less of half of solicitor, which was like 1,200 pages, because I was freaking out. I'm a slow reader. I don't care, I'm a lawyer, but still I'm a slow reader. So it was like freaking me out. And at that point I was already, getting freaked out by people say, oh, they've read it twice now within the past month, and they still don't know what they're doing. And I'm thinking, you read it twice within a month, that gigantic book, and I haven't read anything. So what's the hope for me? So I remembered my own advice that don't listen to pessimists. Don't listen to pessimists. You are different. You know what you're capable of doing. You know your mental capacity. And I thought to myself, why am I listening to these people? That's their problem. But I'm not going to listen to that and let it dampen my spirit. So what did I do? I started listening. So I increased the time that I spend on studying. And let me tell you the secret. This is not me physically taking up a book and reading. This is me using my earphone while I'm washing, while I'm doing the dishes, while I'm showering for the kids. I have my headphones and I'm listening Sometimes my mind is not there, but subconsciously is registering in my brain. So I'm listening to those lectures because they are videos. When I sit down on my bed, I'm so tired. All I want to do is sleep. I don't have the strength to even pick up a book and read. This is me on my phone watching the videos. And then when I go back to work, I decided, because then people were looking at me in some type of way at work, it was like getting ridiculous. So I started using just because they send you the ebook as well. So I was using the ebook on my phone instead of bringing that gigantic book out, which was weird, excuse me. So I started using the ebook, but then later I said, you know what, I'll just start watching the video. So what I would do is, while I'm eating my food during lunch, I'll have my video open, and it was very, like, sometimes I get carried away. So I started setting an alarm on my phone so that when my 30 minutes break is up, it would ring and I'll be able to, like, because it was fantastic. So I started doing that. I was watching. Then at the end of January, I added the past questions to the past questions. So what I would do is, even though I haven't finished reading, which I never did, I didn't finish reading. That's just the truth. Let me let that out there. This is not an advice. This is a disclaimer. I'm not telling you not to read your own book, but I didn't because it was freaking me out and I had little time and I wanted to pass at all costs. Anyway, so what I did was I started doing the past questions. Like, okay, I've done half of this. If an exam comes now, how can I judge myself? At what level can I be? So I would do maybe 50 questions or 60 questions, as much, like, until I get tired. I didn't give myself a target. I'm like, well, I'll just start. If I have 30 minutes before bedtime, okay, let's start. Even if it's 20 questions I can do, fine, let's see. With that 20 questions, how many can I get by heart without flipping any book? Because I always train myself not to be thinking about those things as open book, but as an exam, that if I go to an exam with the knowledge I have as at now, what am I going to score? So that's how I trained myself. So what I did was, before bedtime and at work, I would just find any kind of paper that's just lying fallow anywhere, and I'll just start going through those practice questions. So sometimes I get tired at just 40. Sometimes I'm only able to do 20 before my 30 minutes is up. As I said, I'm a slow reader, and sometimes I'm able to do up to 60, 70 questions if especially on the weekend. So what I did was I would check and, check the answers at the back, and I check. And I started finding out that the more I do it, most of the time, the timing would be within 40 minutes. I might be able to do 80 questions within 40 minutes. So that way I'm training myself to time manage. Second of all, I'm trying to figure out, like, how good am I getting? How much knowledge am I gaining from these videos that I'm listening to, and those little materials here and there, the summaries that I was able to get from that LSO group, that how far are they helping me? So I found out that each and every time I always score more than half mark. I always did score. It could be 30 over 60. Oh, sorry, it could be 35 over 60. Even though it might sound very low, but it's giving me something that, yeah, you can do more than half of it by heart. And then I started checking, like, how many minutes did I use for that? So most of the time I'll say, you know what, within 1 hour I want to be able to do 100 questions. And if you know the LSO, the barrister and solicitor, I think it's 240 questions as at then, before they started doing the online exams. So what I did was, if I could do 100 questions in 1 hour, I have 7 hours for 240 questions. So even if I have to flip my books, I would finish on time. And also, even if I don't have to flip my book at all, for some reason, I can pass half of it from heart without flipping books. So I started training myself like that. And that's what I did. And I kept doing better, and I kept doing better, and I kept doing better. So the truth is, there's no way to alleviate all that nervousness. There's no way to alleviate all that fear, right? Even though I'm saying I'm going to do the best, I'm already learning to time manage, I'm already doing this, I'm already doing that, but there's still that thing behind me. What if you fail? What if you fail? You never know until you actually see your results. But what I did was I put in the best that I could at the point in time. So I know a lot of people be like, why didn't you finish reading? I didn't have the time. As I said, I didn't have the time. I wasn't mentally like able to, because I have all this running around. I have 2 children, and both of them are little kids. One is 5 now, as I then was 4, and one is 2 now, as I then was 1. And I had a full-time job, and I had like, it was just crazy. And come to think about it, coronavirus started around that time as well. So I kept doing that, and I kept doing that, and I kept training myself, listening to the videos, doing the past questions, and finding time to tab. So when it came towards the end of February, I totally stopped reading the materials. So what I did was the summary material, the same way I did in my NCA exams, that I found like cheat sheets and tiny materials, that those were the ones that I actually took into the exam. I took all my books into the exam, but I put the big ones at the side. But I had the flat cheat sheets that are like 10, 20, 30 pages, so that it's easy for me to flip, and they only have short answers, so I don't get carried away using all my time to figure out which questions or whatever. So now let's fast forward to the exam day. I was freaking out. It was in person. It was in Etobicoke, somewhere in Etobicoke. So I went, I brought food, I brought everything that I was going to need. And I started going through those cheat sheets that I had. And when I got into the exam, what I did was, first of all, before the questions came, I set out my papers. So I put my family law here, my criminal law, my PR, I put them all separate. One thing I didn't do as well is I didn't use, because I don't even know how to use indices. I don't know how to use it, because when I got the indices from even the eMont website, it was like 800 and something pages. That freaked me out right off my skin. It freaked me out. I was like, how is that an indices? Like, I'm looking for something short that I can easily find something, and you give me 800 and something. Are you kidding me? So I just put it aside. So what I did was I used my table of content. And how did I use my table of content? I printed it out separate, because if you have your book like attached together with your table of content, when you go to the exam and you have to start reading, so you have to start flipping to look for answers, you're going to go to the back, look at it, and then start flipping. So you're wasting time. And then if you don't see anything, you go again to the back and start flipping again. So I printed it separate. Like, you stay by yourself. So anytime I have for any reason have to find something, I just pick up my my table of content and I flip through it, and all of my table of content again, I tapped them chapter by chapter. I tabbed them, and all the important ones that I feel like I might need, that might show up in the exam and I will need quick and easy access, I also tapped them. All the bylaws, I also tapped them. Bylaw 6, bylaw 7, bylaw 9, I also tapped them, because there are issues like collecting cash from above 7,000, accounting and all of that. I tabbed everyone, and I took them separate. So I set them on my table, easy peasy, the way I would be able to see it. And I also brought my sticky notes, so that in the exam, because it wasn't online like when we had to do solicitors, but anytime I did it, I wasn't sure of an answer, I would choose an answer but still tab it with the sticky note, so easily I can flip back when I have more time to like now flip the book to see, to kind of find out if I chose the right answer, or if it was the wrong answer. So anyway, that being said, so when I started the exam, I noticed that people started flipping right away. And I said that, I know I've said that before, but like, what are you flipping for? It is a multiple choice question. There will be something that you would know. So my strategy was, I do 20 questions at a time before I go back to flipping books. So I go 20, 20, 20. Once I finish that 20, whatever that I'm not sure of the answer, I still choose an answer anyway. Whatever like is appealing to me at that time, that this might be. Sometimes you see 2 answers that look alike, I choose one, but then I tab it, or I flag it, as they say. I flag it, but I don't leave it. Do you know why I don't leave it? Because if I run out of time, then there's no chance of me getting that mark anyway, even if I guessed right. So if I had guessed right, I'm going to lose it because I didn't tab it. Because I didn't choose that answer. So I would choose an answer anyway, but still tab it, so that at the end of it, when I finish all the 240 questions, I have time to come back to it and then cross-check the answer. And if it's wrong, have time to look for that answer. So that's what I did. So I would do 20 without flipping through my books. 20 of them, be like, okay, I should be able to, because out of that 20 I might be able to know 10 out of my by heart, or 12 by heart, and 8 I don't have a clue, but I'll still choose something and I'll tab it. So when I do that 20, then I'll go back the ones that I know that I can easily find. Like, this is me checking all the tabs. Once I see the topic or something that looks like the topic, I open, look at it, and I quickly, get the answer. So if the answer was correct, kudos to me. If it wasn't correct, then I'll go back and, change the answer. And then if I still didn't find that time, because I'm not physically timing myself, because that gives you a lot of stress. Like, because I see people talk to me, oh, how many seconds? So we have 240 questions, we have 7 hours, that means 90 seconds per question. You're going to freak yourself out. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because at the end of the day, the ones that you know by heart, you might be able to finish it in 15 seconds. So that 75 seconds might add to the next 90 seconds that you're supposed to use for a more difficult question. So it is not a hard and fast rule that you have to spend 90 seconds on each one. At the same time, don't waste time on one question. Do a guesswork for that one, flag it and move on. So that if you do that, you'll be able to have more time to come back and then cross-check. So before I talk off the point, so I have 20, I do those 20. I flagged the ones that I feel like I wasn't sure about the answer. Then after doing that 20, I take a pause. I go flip through my books and see, correct the ones that I are wrong, and the ones that I still don't find, I leave it flagged. I leave it tabbed. Then I go again to the next 20. But when I do the next 20, those 20 again, once I stop at that 20, I go back to my book again. But I wouldn't go back to the previous 20. I will tell you why in a little bit. I wouldn't go back to the previous 20 to go and start looking for answers. I will only focus on that current 20 for that time. And I kept doing that until I finished the entire 240 questions. Now I have finished the 240 questions. There's still pieces that I tabbed that I wasn't still sure about the answer, or I wasn't able to find the answer. At this point, I had an hour left, even though I had finished the 240 questions. At this point, I was still Gucci. Yeah, that's just a joke. I was still good, because let's say I didn't have that 1 hour. I attempted all questions, and that's really important, because if you waste your time flipping books and you're only able to do 120 questions, guess what? You have failed. And the thing about LSO is, it's not like the NCA. The NCA, we know 50 is the pass mark. With the barrister and solicitor exam, we have no clue what the pass mark is. So it depends on how many people pass in that seating. So if a lot of people did really well, it could be 80, it could be 90, who knows? If a lot of people didn't do well, it could be 50, it could be 60, who knows? So that's why you have to put your best foot forward. So you have to attempt every question. Whichever one you don't know, don't ever leave it blank. So now I'm done, 240 questions done. I had 1 hour left. In that 1 hour time, then I started going back to the ones that I left flagged, and I started cross-checking. And that gave me peace, because at that point, all the tension that I had, rushing, all that tension had already reduced. That, thank God, at least I got to the 240 mark. Now I can relax and take my time to actually look for those. And one thing that I omitted to say is, I tabbed my material from LSO. At the same time, I tabbed those little papers, and those papers were the little papers were the ones I was using while doing the exam, because they were like very short answers, but they covered everything. So this is an example of my tabbing. So the way everybody tabs is different, but this is the way I tab. So this is one of the summaries that I use for business law, and this is what it looks like. So this one says searches and opinions. This one says employees, duties of employees and stuff. And this one shows section 173 and section 178. So I actually write out the topics, the main topics that I feel like I might need to look for. And yeah, so I tap the top and the bottom. So this one is CBCA and OBCA and things like that. So if let's say a question comes out and is on searches, all I do is I pick this up from there and I open, and there it goes. See, searches and opinions, and then I highlight it so that it's easy for my eyes to spot where the main information is, so I still highlight them. And that's just what I wanted to show you guys. It's not perfect because I had to go dig this out from somewhere in my kids' room. So yeah, that's what I do. So I highlight the main topics so that while I'm looking, my eyes can easily spot them, right? And then every single time I have the topics already on the sides, I just pick it up from there. So this is automatic discharge, so I pick it up from there, and there it is, automatic discharge, right? And then I already have it highlighted. So see, discharges, and it's easy for me to pinpoint the what I'm looking for. So yeah, I hope this helps. So I was able to easily flip those because some of them are like just the, I think the highest I had was 67 pages, and it was for business law, something like that. Others were like 20 pages, 15 pages that summarizes the entire thing and mentions every topic. I don't need a big book because at the end of the day, it's a multiple choice, so I don't have to write a lot of things. So I just need those points. So those were the ones I was opening. So, and most of the ones that I didn't find, it was because, okay, maybe it didn't show up in my little cheat sheets or in my little summaries. So when I had that 1 hour, I was able to now consult the bigger book that the Law Society of Ontario gave us, and I was able to look for it. And the truth is, there were still like about a couple of them that I still didn't find because I still don't know where it is. And that's just life. You can't know everything. So that's the thing that I did. And after that, after the 1 hour was gone, I was like, I leave everything, I commit everything to God's hands. At this point, all I have to do is pray. I'm sorry if you're not spiritual. I am spiritual. I am a little religious. So I'm a Christian. So I just kept praying about it. Lord, I've done everything that I can. Please, I leave this to you. Let me pass. And I kept praying. No day goes by without me praying. Lord Jesus, let me pass. So now, having talked about all the strategies that I used, would it work for you? Only you can tell. It depends on you. Everybody has a different strategy. I was able to use that strategy to work for me. Would it work for you? You can try. But if you feel that something is not going for you, please tweak it. Tweak it to something that would suit you. Tweak it. You know, you can pick something for what I've said. You can pick something for what other people have said. You can add your own touch onto it. Just make sure you get something that works for you. And that's just it. Freaking out won't do anything for you. Listening to pessimists wouldn't do anything for you. So now, having said all of that, I'm just going to give you a joke. So this is a joke, but at the same time, not a joke. So I was on the LSO group, and the first time I got, the normal thing, greeted everybody, introduced myself and all of that. And I said, does anybody have materials? I just finished my NCA and I just got my certificate of qualification, and I'm hoping to be able to, register and do both solicitor and barrister exams in March, which is 3 months from now. And somebody, what effrontery. At the same time, I don't know either to be mad or to just see it as one of those things. So this person called me, took my number for the group, called me and said, I beg you, don't do both exams at the same time. Don't. Learn from me. Because with mine, I did both exams at the same time and I failed both of them, and now I have to do it again. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if you tell me something like that, I'll be like, really? Oh yeah, you think I'm not going to do it? Well, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to show you that I can do it. But at the same time, I was polite. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And I was like, if you need any help, let me know. Don't be a pessimist. And if you want to be a pessimist, fine, be it to yourself. Don't call people. Like, this person found my number on the group and then called me to tell me not to register for both exams. You don't know your mental capacity. You don't know my mental capacity. You don't know how smart I am. You don't know any of that. You don't know if maybe I look at book and I have like the greatest IQ in the world, and I can just go to the exam and write it and pass. And some people might be reading for 2, 3, 4 years and they still fail. So don't go through all of that. To him, I feel like he thinks he's helping me out, but to me, it was ridiculous. Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to dampen my spirit? Why? Like, I don't care what your problem is. But anyway, I kept it under wraps. I kept it professional. I kept it cool. And I said, thank you so much. I would consider what you have said. And that was it. I didn't contact him again, but I felt like that was weird. right? It was so weird. Anyway, so that's all I have to tell you. If I've missed anything, let me know. I can just connect with me on social media at That Proud Black Woman, on Instagram, on Twitter is at That Proud Black 2. All of my social media handles, I leave it on the screen, either here or here, wherever it is. While I'm editing, I'll put it somewhere. And if I don't respond on time, it's because I don't have notifications for any of my social media on my phone. So I wouldn't see it until I actually actively log into the app to see if I have messages. So don't get mad at that. And as I said, I'm a mother of 2. I am working full time. I have my YouTube channel that I have to edit videos for, so my life is a lot busy. But whenever I will get to your messages and I will respond. It might be slow, but I will respond. So if you need more tips, let me know. Get this video to the 100 likes. Tell me what next you want me to talk about. I feel like the next video that I'll be making is going to be the next step. So if you have passed your exam, congratulations. What's the next step? I would want to talk to you about that. Whenever I find the time, I'll record all the steps that you have to go through, because I feel like a lot of people are confused and there's not a lot of information out there to let you know what to do and what not to do. So I will let my next video will be on that. Not next video, but I would make a video on your next steps once you pass your barrister and solicitor exams. And I will also be making a video on how to get an exemption from articling if you're an internationally trained lawyer. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a huge thumbs up, like, share, and all those good stuff. Thank you so much. Bye.